Today, we're going to cut right through all that marketing noise and look at the actual hard data so you can make the smartest choice for your driveway. Because when you step onto that showroom floor, you're essentially looking at a classic heavyweight versus lightweight matchup. In one corner, you've got the compact, incredibly affordable, and completely feature-packed Tata Punch EV. And in the other corner sits the bigger, undeniably more powerful, and highly premium Tata Nexon EV. Now, both promise long range, both promise advanced tech, and sure, both are going to save you an absolute fortune on fuel. But which vehicle actually gives you the best value when you dig into the real-world numbers?
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to judge these two contenders objectively across four main areas. First, power and road presence. Second, range and charging speeds. Third, features, safety, and costs. And finally, we'll wrap it up with the final verdict.
Starting off with Section 1, power and road presence, where size definitely matters. Right out of the gate, look, we have to concede that the Nexon brings some serious, undeniable strengths to the table. When you put these two side by side, the contrast is stark. The Nexon EV just feels like the bigger, more mature SUV. Its larger dimensions give it this commanding road presence. And honestly, it just looks like a much more expensive vehicle. But wait, because the 2026 Punch EV has gotten some major facelift upgrades. It's got those highly practical, city-friendly dimensions, but now it sports this gorgeous, futuristic connected LED lighting and refreshed premium alloy wheels. So if you want that substantial SUV feel, yeah, the Nexon wins. But if you value easy maneuvering and squeezing into tight urban parking spots, the Punch is incredibly appealing. Now, what about what's actually under the floorboards? Well, the Punch EV long range is definitely no slouch. It produces 95 kilowatts and hits 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 9 seconds. For a compact city vehicle, that is an energetic and honestly impressive stat all on its own.
But this is exactly where the Nexon's muscle really shows. Because while the Punch feels energetic, the Nexon feels genuinely fast. If you're a driver who spends a lot of time out on the highway, you really want that confidence for quick overtakes, right? The Nexon delivers significantly more power, way more torque, and a stronger overall acceleration that you'll immediately feel the second you put your foot down. Moving right along to Section 2, range and charging speeds. The range and charge factor.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's the turning point. This is exactly where the smaller vehicle starts to pull off a massive upset. The 2026 Punch EV maxes out at a 40 kilowatt-hour battery, giving it an ARI-certified range, which, is India's standard testing metric, of up to 468 kilometers. In the real world, based on that strict C75 highway testing, that translates to roughly 355 kilometers. Now look at the Nexon EV. Even with its larger battery options, it maxes out around 465 kilometers claimed. On paper, they're virtually identical, but the Punch EV is delivering those exact same numbers for significantly less money. And then there's the charging speed. 26. Let that number sink in. 26 minutes. That is exactly how long it takes for the 2026 Punch EV to charge from 20% all the way up to 80%. Tata has effectively turned this compact little car into an absolute fast-charging powerhouse. Let's put that into perspective for a second. Imagine you're on a road trip. You pull over to grab a quick coffee, maybe stretch your legs a bit. In just 15 minutes, literally the time it takes to order and drink that coffee, the Punch EV adds 135 kilometers of actual, usable, real-world range. That massively reduces range anxiety and makes road trips incredibly easy. I mean, the Nexon supports fast charging too, of course, but the gains the Punch EV facelift has made here make it an absolute champion for daily usability. All right, Section 3, features, safety, and costs, the value proposition. This is where the Punch EV, frankly, just runs away with the lead. The 2026 model is absolutely packed to the brim. You're getting a large infotainment display, full connected car tech, wireless smartphone connectivity, a 360-degree camera, blind spot monitoring, regenerative braking controls, and a premium digital cockpit. Talk about bang for your buck. You can literally buy a higher-end Punch EV loaded with all these luxury features for the exact same price as a base model Nexon EV that totally lacks them. It's wild. Now, when it comes to safety, there are absolutely no compromises. Safety is a non-negotiable tie here, which is fantastic news for us as consumers. The Punch EV brings 6 airbags, electronic stability program, hill assist, a tire pressure monitoring system, and ISOFIX mounts. And the Nexon EV, it matches this step for step with its own highly respected advanced safety standards. Both of these vehicles will keep you and your family exceptionally safe. So the crucial point is right here. Tata has introduced a lifetime battery warranty on certain 2026 Punch EV variants. A lifetime warranty. One of the single biggest fears stopping everyday people from buying an EV is that terrifying, looming cost of eventually replacing the battery pack. This innovative ownership program completely destroys that fear. Add in the fact that the Nexon is just fundamentally more expensive to buy, and the Punch EV's value proposition becomes nearly unbeatable. Which brings us to Section 4, the final verdict, the underdog's upset.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole picture as we tally up the scores. Yes, the Nexon EV rightfully takes the crown for design and presence as well as raw performance. But look at the rest of the board. The so-called underdog, the Punch EV, completely dominates in almost every practical daily category. It wins range and efficiency. It wins charging. It wins features. It ties in safety. And it definitively wins ownership cost.
So what's the clear recommendation here? Well, it really comes down to this buyer profile matrix. If you're the highway cruiser, someone who prioritizes more power, that commanding, bigger SUV feel, and you absolutely need strong highway performance for long commutes, then for sure, the Nexon EV is still your go-to. However, if you are the city commuter, someone looking for maximum value, identical range, incredibly fast charging times, lower ownership costs, and brilliant urban usability, the gap has officially closed. For the vast majority of buyers in 2026, the Tata Punch EV is simply the smarter, more practical purchase. A few years ago, the Nexon was the undisputed king of the hill. But today, the Punch EV has evolved into a true giant killer. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. Look closely at your own daily habits. Which profile actually fits your daily drive better? Do you really need the raw power of the Nexon? Or does the incredible value and feature-packed reality of the Punch make way more sense for your life?